on scene 7, and we're walking, and we're walking. This scene starts out with a bunch of servants coming in and doing what is called service over the stage, which I think is probably Shakespeare using actors who are playing servants to change the scene, which you'll actually still see a lot of times in theater if they don't want to make it completely dark or a curtain to fall, which couldn't have happened in Shakespeare's theater because they didn't have a curtain and they did all their plays by daylight, so you couldn't have a dark scene change. So he would have just had servants come out and change the scene. Although he doesn't say that the servants leave necessarily, so I want you all to bear in mind that when Macbeth comes in and starts talking, there are probably actually servants listening, and do with that information what you will. And in comes Macbeth, like I said. There might still be some servants there. And I think he's starting to get cold feet just a little bit. He's kind of just, he seems on edge. If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. If the assassination could travel up the consequence, and catch with its surcease success, that but this blow might be the be-all and end-all here. But here upon this bank and shoal of time, we jump the life to come. But in these cases we still have judgment here, that we but teach bloody instructions, which, being taught, return and plague the inventor. This even-handed justice commends the ingredients of our poisoned chalice to our own lips. He's here in double trust. First, as I am his kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed, then as his host, who should against his murder shut the door, not bear the knife myself. Besides this, Duncan hath borne his faculties so meek, hath been so clear in his great office, that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off, and pity, like a naked newborn babe striding the blast, or heaven's cherubim horsed upon the sightless couriers of the air, shall blow the horror deed in every eye, that tears shall drown the wind. I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only valsing ambition, which o'erleaps itself and falls on the other. This is probably the first of Macbeth's long and wordy speeches, which he does throughout the play, but there's a lot of stuff going on in it. At first, he seems to be more like, okay, if we're going to do this, I'm going to do it now and get it over with. But then he starts to sort of think about it, and he's like, well, Duncan is here as my kinsman and my king, and I shouldn't be trying to kill him, I should be preventing his murder. But here I am trying to kill him. And besides, Duncan has been so meek. He calls him meek. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. He doesn't call him peaceful, and he doesn't call him weak. He calls him meek, which is an interesting word choice. Does Macbeth think that meek is a good thing? Or is he saying, Duncan is so meek, I feel bad for killing him, because it's like killing a puppy or something. But then in comes Lady Macbeth, who is a lot more determined of a person than her husband is. And he asks how Duncan is doing, and she says that he's almost finished his supper, and she's asking why Macbeth is like out here roaming the halls when he should be plotting. And then Macbeth definitely gets cold feet. We will proceed no further in this business. He hath honored me of late, and I have bought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which will be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon. But he gave me all this cool stuff. Maybe that's good enough. Maybe I have enough things. I'm Thane of 2 things, and all my friends really like me right now. And his wife's like, no, that's not good enough to be the most popular kid when you can be the king. Well, if you were in her place, and you knew that your husband could be a really good king, and the normal way for him to become king was to kill the old one, why wouldn't you try to push him? You're going to be great. You're going to be such a good king. Grow a pair and become one. Or she could just be crazy and bloodthirsty. But that's the angle that everyone always takes, and being as stubborn as I am, I hate to take the angle that everyone always takes. Was hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Hath it slept since, and wakes it now to look so green and pale at what it did so freely? From this time, such I account thy love. Art thou afeard to be the same in thine own act and valor as thou art in desire? So she's basically saying, you wanted to be king. Are you just all talk? Is that what you are? Wouldst thou have which thou esteemest the ornaments of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not wait upon I would, like a poor cat in the adage? But she's saying, are you gonna let I dare not get in the way of I would? Are you gonna let cowards get in the way of what you really want in your life? Which is an interesting life lesson for everyone. Are we gonna let cowards get in the way of what we really want, even if what we really want happens to be murdering the king? So maybe that's not the best example. I'll just keep reading. Prithee peace, I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none. Hey, I'm a man. I can do cool things. His wife isn't having any of it. What beast was it then that made you break this enterprise to me? Why did you lie? Why did you tell me you wanted to be king and now you're not being king? When you durst do it, then you were a man. And to be more than what you were, you would be so much more than the man. Nor time nor place did then adhere, and yet you would make both. They have made themselves, and that their fitness now does unmake you. I have given suck, and know how tender it is to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from its boneless gums and dashed its brains out, had I so sworn as you had done to this. So she's basically comparing MacBeth saying, yeah, I'm going to be king, I'm doing it, come on wife, you're going to be queen, to if she had a baby and she was nursing it, and then she just tore it off her boobie and whacked its head on something. Maybe I think she's a little bit of an extreme person in general. He did really get her hopes up, so she's like, stop being a tease, stop toying with me. Are you gonna be king or not? Macbeth's like, if we should fail, and then she smacks him down again. We fail, but screw your courage to the sticking place and will not fail. Bet you didn't know that's where that came from. I'm sure you've heard screw your courage to the sticking place before. Shakespeare. He didn't steal that from anyone else. This is the first time. Don't you feel smart again for having that knowledge? When Duncan is asleep, whereto the rather shall his hard day's journey soundly invite him, his two chamberlains will I with wine and wassail so convince that memory, the warder of the brain, shall be a fume, and the receipt of reason and the limbeck only. She's gonna go get Duncan's guards really drunk and possibly flirt with them, so they have no memory of their king being killed, and they'll probably just be asleep the whole time. When in swinish sleep their drenched nature lies as in death, what cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What not put upon his spongy officers, who shall bear the guilt of our great quell? So not only is she going to get them drunk until they fall asleep, she's going to then blame them for the crime. Bring forth men children only, for they undaunted metal should compose nothing but males. Which might be a compliment, because he's saying, you're really badass, wife. You should have boy children because they will be as badass as you. But at the same time, it's a backhanded compliment, because he's saying, bring forth male children, sort of because female children wouldn't be able to be as badass as you. Will it not be received when we have marked with blood those sleepy two of his own chamber and used their very daggers that they have done it? So are we really going to do it? Are people really going to believe that it was totally the guards and not us? Who dares receive it other, as we shall make our griefs and clamor roar upon his death? And that's Lady Macbeth saying, duh, they're going to believe it, especially if you and I are just like weeping upon hearing about his death. Pretty simple plan, really. And Macbeth is once again behind this plan. We made it through a whole act, and some of you are still watching this. This has been a PC Patient Zero production. Thanks again for watching.